this is Miss Burton. Just wanted to say hello to all my students and do a quick read aloud. This book that I found is called Coming Home that I want to share with you. It shows a treasure map on the front. Oh, where's that treasure map? There it is. Here we have the great deep sea, the fathomless sea, the dread Isle of Tureen, and Bluestone, which we're going to be looking at. The story is about a couple of boys that are stranded on an island with the captain. Let's find out what happens. The two boys looked at the captain with astonishment. "You're leaving the island?" they said in one voice, which they often did because they were twins and they were always thinking the same thing. "You can't leave the island," Argo proclaimed. "Without you here, we would be so alone." Arion completed Argo's sentence, as he often did. "Arion is right," Argo said. The captain looked at the boys with kind eyes. "Just remember what I've taught you, and remember, I'll be back." The boys couldn't imagine life on Tureen without their captain. Argo and Arion were nearly 2 years old when, on the night their ship was wrecked, the captain and the boys drifted to this tiny island, made it their home, and named it Tureen. That was 14 years ago. And now that the captain was leaving, they felt afraid. There's so much more to life than Tureen, and when I return, we'll leave together for Bluestone. More to life than Tureen? As far as Argo and Arion knew, everything in the world was just like Tureen, small and gray. Not a happy gray like the hue of shadowed snow, not a strong gray like the shade of thunderclouds, but a dirty, dismal gray, like the worn skin of an elephant or the cold ashes of a dead fire. "You've got to see with your heart, not your eyes," the captain would challenge them. Here's a picture of the captain talking to the boys. The captain had spent many evenings sitting with the boys, explaining the grayness and the meaning of color. According to the captain, long ago a volcano had erupted, burying forever the colors of the isle under a blanket of soot. As a result, Tureen was a gray island in the middle of the big gray ocean. Waves of gray tips slapped against beaches with gray sand. Trees with gray trunks sheltered gray winged birds. Gray animals with gray eyes peered from behind the gray bushes. Only the boys and the captain were not gray. A thick forest grew in the center of the island, and in the center of the forest there rose a mountain. The captain told the boys to stay away from both. "The volcano erupted once. It will erupt again. And stay out of the forest," he would say, "for the forest will take your color." They believed the captain because he had seen 1,000 islands. "There are islands," the captain told them, "so vast you cannot walk around them even in 2 days." This amazed Argo and Arion, for they could run all the way around Tureen in a few hours. But there are islands where the sky is so clear and the water is so sweet that the birds sing and the creatures leave the forest and come to the sand. Amazing! Birds didn't sing on Tureen and the creatures never left the forest. But there is one island that is most special, Bluestone, the boys would state in unison. They knew that name well, for it was the captain's home. "Ah, Bluestone," the captain would smile. "There the birds always sing. Blue waters tumble over shiny brown rocks, and the grass is evergreen, and the sun sets on the horizon like an orange ball." Argo and Arion would squeeze their eyes tight and try to picture the colors and hear the sounds, but they'd never heard birds sing, and they'd only seen gray. The captain knew it was hard, so he would help them. "Look at each other," he would venture. "See your blue eyes? That is the color of the water in Bluestone. And see your blonde hair? On my island there are birds and sunsets with such splendor. And your teeth, see how white? They are the color of Bluestone sands. It's like nothing you've ever seen before here in Turin. Then the captain would grow very solemn. Argo, Arion, you were not made for Turin. You were not made to live in the gray. Then his voice would grow soft with sorrow. Turin was like Bluestone once, alive with sights and sounds long ago, before the volcano. But his voice would be sad only for a moment. Bluestone is not gray. His eyes would dance as he spoke, and Bluestone is your true home. I am going away for just a short time, he said. I'm going to Bluestone to prepare your place, but I will come back and take you to be there with me. But what will we do while you're gone, they asked. Remind each other that this is not your home, and help each other to be ready to leave when I return. Though the boys believed the captain, their hearts were sad, and they climbed in his fishing boat and set sail as he climbed in his fishing boat and set sail for Bluestone. I will return, he shouted to them. Be ready. So began the days when Argo and Arion were alone together on the island. At first, they were just alike and did exactly the same things. They would rise early in the morning, look at each other's faces, and think of Bluestone. Your eyes are like the waters we will see, one would say. And your hair is yellow like the birds we will see, the other would answer. We were not made for Turin, they reminded each other. We were made for another place. Then they would spend their day together, dreaming of the captain and remembering his words. When evening came, they would go to the eastern beach from which the captain had sailed. There they would remember his farewell. I will come back and take you to be there with me, one would quote. Be ready to leave when I return, the other would remind, and then they would rest for the night. They spent many days searching the horizon for their captain. Looking for his return was their greatest joy, at first. But after many days, Argo and Arion began to grow tired. It's hard for me to remember his voice, Argo confessed. Arion added, the colors are getting blurry. One afternoon, Arion had gone to sleep on the gray sand while Argo took his turn at the watch. When Arion awoke, Argo had left the beach. He didn't return until the evening sun was setting, and Arion was already on the eastern coast. Where did you go? Arion asked. I grew tired of the ocean and went into the forest. But the captain said to stay out of the forest. We need to stay together, Argo, to watch. Argo didn't respond, and that evening, when the two boys retold the words of the captain, Argo seemed uninterested. When Arion awoke the next morning, Argo was gone again. Arion tried to see the colors and hear the music without the help of his brother, but it was hard. He felt alone, speaking into the sky with no one to listen, but he spoke anyway. And there he is. Several days passed before Arion saw his brother again, and when he did, Arion was shocked. He looked into Argo's eyes, longing to see that blue that would remind him of Bluestone, but the color was gone. Faded and pale was the hair that had been bright blonde like the sun of the captain's country. Argo, you've changed. No, I haven't, Argo argued. What's happened? I've made some new friends in the forest. The animals. They aren't evil. They've shown me things I've never seen before. We swim in the river and run in the meadow and crawl in a cave beneath the great mountain. Argo, have you forgotten the captain's words? He said to stay away from the mountain. It could explode. Argo laughed. The creatures have told me the truth, Arion. The volcano never exploded and it never will. That's just a fantasy. Come on, I'll show you. Arion looked at his brother for a long time. He looked at the eyes that used to sparkle and touched the hair that used to gleam. You've changed, Argo. You are like the island. A little change doesn't hurt. Besides, what I'm doing in there is fun. Come with me. No, Argo. We must wait here. Maybe if you stay here, your color will return. Argo laughed again. Stay here and look for something that will never happen and miss the fun of the forest? You're a fool, Arion. If the captain were returning, he'd be back by now. Come on and meet my friends. No, Argo, stay with me and let me help you to be ready for the captain's return. And the two brothers stood and looked at each other, Arion with sorrow and Argo with disbelief. You really think he's coming, don't you? After all this time, if you'd seen what I'd seen in the forest, you wouldn't stay here on the beach. I've seen enough, Argo, Arion said softly. The forest has stolen your beauty. Stay with me. Change before it's too late. But Argo just smiled and walked toward the trees and became a part of the grayness. A few days later, a speck of gold appeared on the morning horizon, the color of Argo's hair that it used to be, only 1,000 times brighter. It sparkled and beamed like a fire in the night. A light cut through the gray with splendor. It was the grand schooner with billowed sails of purest white. Here he comes. The captain had returned. Arion could see him on the bow of the ship. I'm back, the captain called. I'm ready, Arion shouted as loudly as he could. The captain waved. When Arion boarded the ship, he raced into the captain's arms. The weariness of the watch was forgotten. What Arion had been able to see only with his heart, he now saw with his eyes. He thought of his brother and looked up at the captain. Argo chose Tureen. Sadness came over the captain's face. He walked to the rail and looked at the gray forest. Just as Arion was turning away, he saw movement. Argo! He saw his brother step hesitantly at first, and then he moved faster and faster until he reached the schooner. Argo, the captain said. Argo glanced up at the tone of the captain's voice, but he quickly looked back down. You know now the deceptions of the forest, the captain said. Yes, Argo nodded. The captain looked at Argo for a long moment. Then Argo asked, Please, may I come with you? The captain smiled and helped Argo into the ship. The captain touched Argo on the top of his head, and Argo's hair shed its grayness, and his eyes became blue as the waters at Bluestone, and his body seemed to glow. The ship set sail for Bluestone. Only when they reached the horizon did they feel the vibrations of the volcano erupting. I hope you liked this story. It made me wonder about the grayness. I wonder what that grayness was. Maybe they lost hope. Maybe that's why the volcano made the whole island gray. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you like the story. Love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.